Welcome back, guys. We are here at CPAC. This is day 2 of CPAC, and I have a great guest here with me today. So let's go ahead and get to know this nice guest here a little bit more. If you don't mind, tell the viewers what your name is and then what got you active in politics.
Yeah, thank you, Bo. So my name is John Cruickshank, and the reason I'm here today, I'm actually running for Los Angeles County Supervisor. What got me into politics? I've been in politics from pretty much the day I was born. My mom was a school board member. She took me to political rallies. I understand the importance of being involved politically and doing activism and things that will change public opinion.
Yeah.
And if you look at something like a Los Angeles County Supervisor race where right now you have 5 people that have never been as part of the private sector as our supervisors, so they don't know how to run businesses, they don't know how to take risks, and for me, I believe we need people that are pragmatic, that can solve problems and not just be politicians.
Oh yeah, we do. I mean, right now there's a lot of problems, so if you're not being problematic to fix those problems, you're not doing it right, in my opinion. As we mentioned earlier, you're running for LA County, so what issues are you seeing in LA County? What's the major ones that, you know, if you were to get elected, that you would step in and intervene with first?
So in Los Angeles County, probably more so than anywhere else in the country, is the homeless issue.
Yes.
I'm a third-generation Southern Californian, and usually when I was a child and growing up, the homeless population was there, but they were typically in the downtown Los Angeles area, in our Skid Row area. Over the last 5 or 6 years, because of mismanagement by our government, the homeless population's exploded.
Yeah.
They basically opened their arms to allow homeless people to be on our streets, and unfortunately you have a lot of people that have different issues. So what would I do first? I would work to get the 20 or 25% of the mentally ill into conservatorships so that they actually get the help they need within a hospital, because you can't medicate people on the street.
Yeah.
Also, we have a number of criminals that live on the street. We need to reopen our jails and get people back into jail. And then finally, because of the high prices and inflation that we've seen all across the country, but way more so in California, the high cost means you can't afford to live somewhere, so that means you're homeless.
Yeah.
So we need to work on getting the government's foot off of our throats.
Yeah. See, I'm from Tennessee, and in Tennessee I never thought I would see prices be as high as they are today. Even the real estate's insane, but just the price of milk, the price of eggs. I can only imagine what it's like living in California and having to deal with the inflation, getting gas in California. I mean, I just don't see how people are able to survive without at least making 6 figures a year. You know what I mean? So how can we combat that and bring inflation down, especially in California? I mean, it's bad everywhere, but California needs a lot of work in that department.
Well, you just said it. What's interesting, Bo, and you and I just met, my wife and I just celebrated our 30-year anniversary. We were in Nashville.
Oh, God bless
and then
you.
we went to Memphis as well. And it was funny because we actually said that some of the prices, like breakfast and buying food, was similar to California. But of course, the gas was almost $2 a gallon less. And I think we also imagine that some of the prices of the homes are probably going up because people in California are moving out to states like Tennessee. So what can we do about it? Well, first of all, in California, we have an unusual amount of taxes that we put on of our fuels. Also, we've basically told the companies, the oil companies, and those that produce natural gas to drop dead. And I would say, look, we need an energy policy that's all of the above. We need to stop saying we're not going to drill for oil anymore. It was actually the oil fields that built California. And so for us to now turn our backs on them when our citizens need less expensive fuel now more than ever, we need to take the pressure off of the companies that produce fuels and fossil fuels and oil immediately.
I agree. And you mentioned taxes. I want to talk a little bit on taxes, especially in California. Can you kind of talk us through, for the viewers, even myself that don't fully grasp what the taxation is like in California? What do you guys go through?
Well, there isn't a tax that Governor Newsom doesn't like. And the governments in California always feel that for them to do all of their pet projects, they need to continue to raise taxes. You know, thank God we have Proposition 13, which actually caps the rate in which we can be taxed on our property. But the Democrats have been constantly trying to get rid of that. What they also do, and there's a ballot measure that's going to be in 2024 in California, all of our propositions, they put things like vote for the kids proposition when it's really raise taxes on property owners.
Yeah.
But they never put raise property taxes in the ballot measure. So the proposition that we're looking at to vote on is actually going to make sure that when it's a tax increase, it says it on the ballot and people, it's not hidden.
No, I'm so glad you brought that up. That is such a good point. With the Democratic Party especially, there's so many things that they say that sound good on the surface, but then you dive into what it actually has under the surface, and then you see why it's not so good. I mean, Planned Parenthood, my body, my choice. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. You know, I agree, it is your body and it is your choice. And then you read, what does that actually mean? Oh, it means terminating an unborn child's life. So, is it really that good? You know, just stuff like that that the Democratic Party proposes that sound good on the surface, but then you unravel it and it's just filled with corruption.
Right. So I think it's so critical for groups like yours and others that are here on Media Row here at CPAC to be able to get your message out, because I think that's what the problem is that at the end of the day, the laws that are passed and the taxes that we pay, nobody likes them, and everyone knows they're not working, but then they continue to go on their lives hearing the same old news media, and they don't hear from people like you.
Yeah.
And if they would hear more and be educated on why these taxes are high, why fuel is high, why their lives are so miserable, and why they can't get ahead in life, and they realize, why are people moving to other states? Because there's less government there.
Yeah.
So why don't we just look at what's going on there and say, what did we do in California? Like, I could get up and leave tomorrow like many of my friends and neighbors have, but I'm not going to give up on California just because it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. It really is. And so for us to give up because politicians are destroying it's not right. We need to fight just like they've fought in this country forever for the things that are right, and fairness. And fairness is something that I want to bring to my campaign.
No, I commend you so much for doing that, because you do have the opportunity to leave. But we need more people staying where they are in these democratic states and fighting for it, especially these swing states like Pennsylvania, even Ohio, Georgia is huge. You need to be staying there and fighting and bringing more Republicans back to the forefront of the government. You can't just leave, because then you're just going to have a nation divided. If you leave, you're just going to have half the states Republican, half the states Democrat. You can't leave. You got to unite and bring the Republicans back to the forefront. So I commend you so much for staying and fighting, not just for yourself and giving yourself a better life, but the American people and the people that you're going to be representing in California. So God bless you for that. You know, I'd love to support you from GOUSA. GOUSA is the first ever nonpartisan, unbiased political credit rating system, and it judges politicians and leaders unbiasedly based off two metrics. Are you working for the Constitution, and are you working for the will of the American people, the majority of the American people? So for instance, I always give the example, late trimester abortions, 10%, just 10% of the US population agree with late trimester abortions, yet you have politicians that do support that. So they're clearly working against that 90%, so they would get a lower opportunity score. But then you have mandatory voter ID. It's about 65% agree we should have mandatory voter ID. So if you support that, then you're working for the majority of the American people, therefore you get a positive opportunity score. Do you think that a system like this, the same way credit cards, your credit score gets scored and movies get scored, don't you think we should also be doing the same with the politicians that are ruling our lives?
Of course. So the race I'm running in is a nonpartisan race, and one of the things that I always tell people is that I believe we should take R's and D's off of statewide races and federal races, period, and do exactly what you're doing. I knew nothing about your GOUSA today before I met you and your team here, and realized what you're doing is what I've been trying to preach as well, that we should be electing the right people for the job. And when I say right people, I mean people that, first of all, always follow the Constitution, which is one of your tenets, and the other is, when I became an elected official in my current city, I always tell people, it's not about me, it's about the people that vote for me, and I need to listen to them. And so in this LA County, I'm going to be representing 2 million people. That's more than a congressperson would represent. So how do you do that properly? You do a hell of a lot of listening, because if you don't, you're just going to end up what you have now. You have basically a group of supervisors that are basically beholden to party politics.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do party politics get us in this country?
Nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is awesome.
Well, God bless you, and we look forward to helping you in this fight, and we hope that you can give a voice back to the California people.
Thank you so much, Bill.
God bless you.
God bless you.